Hi everyone, and look what we've got. Lord of the Rings Battle of Pelennor Fields. Woo! Before we start, can I just say a big thanks to Games Workshop for sending us this, and I'm joined today by Rob because I have no idea what this game is, how to play it or anything about it. So Rob, tell us a bit about yourself.
So I've been playing Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and now Middle-earth strategy battle game since 2001.
Okay.
So quite a long time.
When I was born.
Yeah. And I've actually just come back from the Ardacon tournament in Manchester. It's a completely community-run tournament, but it's also the largest SBG tournament in the world. I came 165th out of 215 players. I think it's 215. So for me that's quite good because I normally come steady third from last at every tournament, no matter the size. So I'm quite proud of that.
Oh yeah, there we go. So like I said, I haven't played this since War of the Rings back in who knows when, probably about
2006.
Yeah, sometime there before I can remember.
Yeah.
So I haven't touched a model from this in quite a while. I think this is something quite exciting, maybe something to get me a bit back into it, maybe have a couple of games, but I understand that it's miles different from War of the Rings back when I played it. So anything I remember is out the window, not that I remember a lot. So
okay, so let's get in the box. So you're met by an awful lot of sprues in this box to start with, aren't you?
That's quite a lot.
It's quite intimidating. You get a lot for your money to start with. It's an incredible deal. Some people have been quick to point out that some of the models in here are from like 2002.
Yeah, because I remember some of these models actually. I think my dad still has one of those Nazguls built up, half painted in a box somewhere.
And that's one of the newer ones. But you do get a lot of stuff for your money. So obviously 12 Riders of Rohan, that's their horses. A Mordor troll you can actually build in 3 or 4 different ways.
Yeah, because I remember there's the drummer, isn't there? There's the spear.
Yep, so you can do a Mordor troll, Isengard troll, or a Mordor troll drummer. Okay. All with different weapon types, so plenty of customizability. Is that the word?
Yeah, I'd use that, I'd say that.
Then moving on, you've got the Ringwraith on Fellbeast.
Fellbeast, right, okay, yep.
So
that's the one my dad has.
Yeah, they've put this in the box with the intention of you using it as the Witch King of Angmar.
There's always that famous battle, isn't there?
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
Well, it's not actually Theoden, is it? It's
well, Theoden gets hacked.
Yeah, Theoden gets destroyed by it, but it's his daughter, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
In fairness, it's Theoden's horse that squashes him. It's nothing to do with it.
Yeah, Theoden horses get scared, so let's blame it on him.
Then, so we've got our riders there.
Okay. They are the Riders of Rohan.
Yeah. And what next? Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead. I love these models.
They are.
I think they're awesome.
Really cool. I think they've stood up to the test of time quite well. Yeah. What's really cool about these is that you'll be able to take whole armies of them, which is something that anyone who's been playing this game for a long time will know you've not been able to do that.
A flood of ghosts running across the battlefield.
Just like in the film.
Like in the films,
which is wicked. Next up, another sprue for the Witch King.
Okay.
And then some Warriors of Rohan on foot. So,
okay.
Yeah, so you could either use these as dismounts for if your horses die. Or, because you need dismounts if your horse dies. Or you could use them as foot troops of Rohan.
Just as foot troops running across the battle.
And then we've got 1, 2, 3 sprues of Moran and Orcs. These are slightly more elite than normal Mordor Orcs. They've got a bit more armour.
Okay. They're a bit cooler.
Yeah, they're a bit cooler.
Better than your average Joe.
That's right. And then finally, the only new model in this kit is Theoden, who is both foot and mounted. Comes with 4 different head options, so you can put both helmeted heads or both bare heads. Okay. Okay. Take the instructions off. That's all I think is for everything.
Yep.
Covers how to build everything. Most of the stuff in this game
is one piece.
Okay,
so it's just cut off the sprues. I guess it speeds up the building, doesn't it?
Exactly. That was always the intention. was to make sure that they were nice, quick, easy models to build. You've got some green and red dice. I assume good and evil.
Good and evil, yeah. Probably tell the difference.
They are releasing some posh dice for each of the factions as well.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
So yeah, and then a whole load of bases.
Nice is something interesting. New base, new flying base, isn't it? That is the new flying base.
Do you know what? This is actually the flying base that has always come with the Nazgul.
Right, I'm going to stop inputting now because I felt clever for recognising that. But
it's just not one you see in 40k or.
They've only recently started using it, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So there we go. And then, interestingly, you've got
scenario.
As you say, scenarios, all the profiles for the models that come in the game box.
Okay.
But not all the profiles for all the models in the game. That's a separate book which you'll buy separately.
Okay.
So that's going to be quite cool. I haven't had time to have a look through it. And then...
And the rules manual.
The full rules manual.
Not too thick. Not as thick as I was expecting.
No. Well, the cool thing is that because it's a setting we're all familiar with by like watching the films, reading the books.
You don't really need... Yeah. If you want the fluff, go read the books.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's got all the main rules for how to use all your models in the game.
Okay.
All the special rules you'll need, all the spells you'll need, all the scenarios you use in match play as well.
Okay.
But it doesn't have any narrative play scenarios. Those come in the Armies book.
Okay.
Okay.
So am I right in thinking that this Middle-earth battle, this new edition, is the combination of Hobbit and Lord of the Rings? Because for a while, with the release of the Hobbit movies, you had the Hobbit strategy battle game, and that was really only for the models in the Hobbit, wasn't it?
So that's a misconception.
Oh, okay. So it was interchangeable. So you could use Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, yeah, completely.
Okay.
So the reason they've gone for Middle Earth strategy battle game is for the reason you basically pointed out, is it's quite confusing as a consumer.
Yeah, when you pick up the Hobbit, but you want to play your Lord of the Rings.
And people even now say definitely no, they're two separate games. They're not at all. They've always been completely interchangeable. And Middle Earth strategy battle game is just a better description of the game they're trying to make.
Middle Earth, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm quite curious about this game. I want to know how to play this game. So I think for the first couple of minutes, it's going to be more about you telling me the basic routine of the game. So if you're new to it, stay tuned. But if you're wanting to look at more of the changes and everything that's new in this edition, fast forward a couple of minutes. I'd say about 3 minutes, and we should be getting into that then.
A good place to start is to take you through the turn sequence of the game. Firstly, it always starts with your priority phase. This sets the order of play, whether it's good or evil, going first or second. You roll off, and whoever gets the highest score gets to go first. Then moves into the move phase. You move your whole army.
Okay. So it's not like me move, you move, me move, you move. It's just all of my move and then all of yours move.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
You then go into the shoot phase. So anything that has moved half or less can shoot.
Okay.
If they have moved, there'll be a modifier to their shoot value, but they can still shoot.
So your archers are normally going to be standing quite still.
Probably standing still, unless they're trying to get in range.
Okay.
So unique to the strategy battle game compared to other Games Workshop games, the fight phase, let's say you've got lots of combats on the table happening. It's only going to be one side or the other that gets to fight in each one of those combats.
Okay.
Determined by the models that are, in base-to-base contact with each other.
Okay.
So each side makes a duel test. So it's you roll a number of dice equal to your attack's value. I do the same. Whoever rolls the highest wins the fight, and they get to roll to the wound. Okay,
so it kind of gives that feel of special characters, named characters like Phaeton being able to out-duel a Mordor Orc. So the Orc wouldn't even get to land a blow on him, which kind of makes sense. You see it in the movie, and they're just hacking their way through Orcs, and just the Orcs aren't even touching them. So.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it comes down to the amount of attacks he has. So he'll have more attacks than a Mordor Orc.
Yep. So if we're greater chance.
Yeah, exactly. And then if we're drawn, it goes down to what our fight value statistic is.
Okay.
So Phaeton, he's a better fighter. He's going to have a higher fight value.
Yeah, so he'll still get to attack. Okay.
Yeah. And then it goes into your end phase, and that's where you just clear up
tokens
and that sort of thing.
Okay.
You know, if someone's been knocked prone or all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually game turn.
Okay.
So example profile Phaeton is a character that a lot of seasoned players have been quite excited about, because in previous editions he hasn't been as good as maybe he should be.
Yeah.
This edition they've kind of gone through every single stat line ever since 2001 and built it back from scratch.
Oh wow, so this is quite a big re-release of the game.
Quite a big re-release of the game. Some of these stat lines, we were told at Ardacon last week that some of them haven't been changed since 2001. They're just changing them now.
Oh wow, okay.
So Phaeton's a great example, so we'll talk about Phaeton. Again, unique to this game compared to other Games Workshop games. The stat line, as you can probably see there, as movement, fight value, strength value, defense value, attacks, wounds, courage, and then might, will, and fate. This is quite different. You're probably used to weapon skill, ballistic skill,
armor save.
Some of them are very similar. So strength and defense are like your strength and toughness in 40k.
Okay.
Attacks is
wounds.
Attacks and wounds is number of wounds. And
courage,
then courage
similar
is
to your leadership. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's for your courage test. It's 2d6.
Okay.
Add your courage value, and you're looking to score 10 or higher to pass your courage test.
Oh, okay. So higher values in courage
Higher
again
value.
are better. Okay.
Yeah. The fight value, as I said about in the previous bit about the game turn.
Yep.
The first number is your fight value. That's only important if you have a drawn combat.
Okay.
And then the next number, so the 4+ here, that's his ability to shoot.
Yep.
Now he hasn't got any war gear that allows him to shoot, but there might be a weird situation in the game where he gets to shoot a war machine or something.
Okay.
Some models can pick up stones and throw them. You know, there's all sorts.
Okay.
Then movement value. Each model's got its own movement value.
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot more in the game systems now.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. It's the same in Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, Age of Sigmar, 40k, everything's got their own movement now.
Yeah, and then going through for heroes specifically, you've got might, will, and fate.
Okay, so these three you can't, because I can't see them on the Warriors of Rohan, the Riders of Rohan. Is this only for your heroes and generals?
That's
only
right.
They get them.
Yeah.
Even unnamed ones, so like just a shield captain would
like
get
a
it.
captain or a shaman, they'll have might, will, and fate as well. Maybe not as much as Theoden.
Yeah, because he is a named character.
Exactly.
So, okay.
So your might allows you to increase a dice roll. So if you got a 4 and you needed a 5, you can spend a point of might to turn that into a 5. Or you can call a heroic action, which we'll come on to later, I suppose. Again, then there's will, which is your resistance to magic.
Okay.
Or your use of magic, your ability to use magic.
So that's kind of all to do with your spells and how good you are at denying spells. So wizards would have more will than a warrior captain like him. So Gandalf would be a higher
5
will.
or 6, I would suppose.
Because he's more inept at magic and stopping it.
And each spell costs a point of will.
Yeah.
And then if you want to dispel a spell, it costs a point of will as well. And then your fate is almost like an invulnerable save or an armor save.
Okay.
Spend a point of fate, you can then take a test against any kind of damage that's done to your model. On a 4-up, he survives.
Yeah, I'm guessing Phaeton doesn't have high fate because he didn't really have good in the movie, did he?
That's quite right. He's already weakened by the will of Saruman. He's come back, you know, to fight at Pelennor and at Helm's Deep.
Eventually gets munched on by a Felbeast.
Yeah, and crushed by his own horse.
Crushed by his own horse. Good old horse.
So yeah, and there are rules for that as well. There's a Fallen Rider test, which he actually does get crushed by his own horse. That's what needs to happen. And then moving down the stat line, we've got war gear.
Okay, this is familiar, so I'm starting to get a bit happier. I understand this now.
Yeah, so some models might be able to upgrade to take a shield or something. He comes with all of his war gear, so it's in his stat line.
Okay.
If they can take a shield, they'll add a point of defense. It's quite simple like that.
Okay.
And then certain weapons might give them a special strike. So if they can take a sword, they can do something called feint, which is it's got its own special rules fighting that way. If they've got an axe, they can do piercing strikes, stuff like that.
Okay.
Or they might just have a basic hand weapon, which means they attack as normal. In the case of Theoden, he's got a sword called Herogrim. This is a new rule. I've not seen this before. So he can use the feint special strike even if his fight value is lower than his opponent's.
Oh, okay. This is like named swords with history. So Orcus, Goblin Cleaver, all these ones will have their own special rule, making their weapons more special.
That's right. So his gives him a cool ability in the game. Then heroic actions.
Again, this is something only for heroes.
Correct, yeah. So something in this version of the rules is that only certain heroes can do certain types of heroic action.
Okay.
In previous versions, there was a list of heroic actions,
and anyone could do them, whereas now it's making it more tuned to their personality.
Yeah, so for example, Phaeton can't do the new heroic action, heroic shoot, because he's not really that kind of general.
Yeah.
Whereas
Legolas do it? Probably.
I think so. I don't know.
He is an elf with a bow.
But
I'm kind of expect him to.
Yeah, I'm sure Aragorn or Haldir would be able to do that, and they'd be able to call a loose action.
Okay.
Yeah. Then in his special rules, he's got Expert Rider, which means he doesn't suffer as much if he falls off his horse.
Which is a bit ironic.
And then he's got the Horse Lord rule. That's new to me. I don't know what that means off the top of my head.
We'll pretend we didn't read it then.
Yeah. Then he's got his own special rule that is
this new as
unique
well?
to him.
Or...
I think it's unique to him and new as well.
Okay.
So fourth, and fear no darkness. Such is the rousing speech given by the King of Rohan that his riders will charge into the face of death for him.
Oh, is that where he runs past with his sword on the spears?
You got it.
It's such a good scene.
It always
gets you going.
Yeah. So his standfast is 12 inches rather than 6 inches.
Okay.
So if your army is broken and you're going to start running away,
you
have to take a courage test for each model on the table.
Okay.
If you start with a hero, they can do a standfast test, which means if they pass, all the friendly models within 6 inches that aren't heroes get to stay as well. They don't run away. They don't have to make a test. In the case of Théoden, he's such a good king, 12 inches, not 6.
Yeah, because I think it's important to say this, because I don't think we have mentioned this yet. You were telling me they've kind of tried to tune the rules more to the lore and the books and the movies, so the characters now are going to be more like they are in the motion pictures and in the books. And is that what they've tried to do? Because was there some imbalances in models?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, early days they tried to keep the game very, very simple, and then they tried to add layers of complexity to the game. Whereas what they've done now is they've gone back to characters that came out with the films that maybe didn't have as many cool rules as they should.
Yeah.
And they've started to add those in. So Théoden was pretty vanilla, really.
Yeah.
But he was a lot of points because he's Théoden.
Yeah.
But there was nothing to really grant that. Whereas now they're really trying to give you a reason to want to
Now he's getting this rules with his sword, his heroic battle cries that he can call. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I will now want to take Théoden at the lead of all of my competitive Rohan armies, which is something that's never happened before. So that's really cool.
Okay, so we've had a brief overview of the game system and the character sheet, and you've had a look through the core rulebook now, and you picked up on some things you wanted to talk about. So where do you think we should start?
So firstly, let's open up the book and have a look inside. Once you actually look inside the book, you can see that it actually flows through in a slightly different way to some of Games Workshop's more recent publications. This kind of thing is a lot more common in a lot of publications. You pointed out, like in 40k and Age of Sigmar, there's a lot of text boxes, things on the side, whereas this kind of flows through. You've got more of a kind of fluid text coming through, like a Forge World book. Yeah. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Which we then realised, because this is Forge Worlds.
We did realise that was because it is a Forge World book. But you
forgot about that.
So it's presented by Games Workshop, but it has been made within the realm of the Forge World design studio. The next thing I wanted to bring up were the keywords that have become a part of this game. So as in line with a lot of Games Workshop's recent publications.
40k and Age of Sigmar. Well, Age of Sigmar started it all, but 40k's now adopted it as well. Yeah,
and it's a great thing to adopt because it just means that you can start to write special rules and spells and skills and all those sorts of things. That are very, very directly linked to specific things in the game. So in the past we've had kind of very loose terms, like the Mordor Orc Shaman could cast Fury, and Fury would affect just Orcs. But now we've got Mordor Orcs, Gundabad Orcs, Angmar Orcs, the list goes on. Whereas now this great example says that a model may have a rule that affects all Mordor Orc models. This means that the rule would apply to all models with both the Mordor and the Orc keywords.
But not Mordor.
Just Mordor or just Orc.
Yeah.
The turn sequences remain pretty much the same. I haven't found anything that seems particularly different from my looking through. I'm sure if I have a more in-depth look, I might find something, but I'm
Oh,
fairly
yeah.
sure it's the same.
It's more or less the same.
Yeah.
That's not really what they focus on with this re-release. It's more
No,
on the
it's the
models
nitty-gritty,
themselves,
the
yeah.
models, and those keywords. It's a massive thing. But we're all kind of happy with how the game flows through, going through stuff.
Yeah.
So the next thing I wanted to bring up were monsters.
Yeah.
Something a lot of people have brought up about the previous edition of the SBG rules are the brutal power attacks which monsters can use when they're in combat.
Okay.
As I can kind of see, they've all remained within the game rules.
Okay.
So Rend, which allows you to use your opponent's strength value instead of their defense value.
Okay.
So against dwarves, which are strength 4, kind of defense 7, quite high.
Yeah.
Rend
it's
is
really
quite a
good,
useful thing, especially against heroes like Balin or Thorin or Dwalin, you know.
Okay.
So that's one thing. Then the next ones are Hurl, where your monster can literally pick up and throw a model.
Oh, that is amazing. Just a big Mordor troll rundering across the battle, finding a dwarf and just going, I don't want you anymore, and throwing it across the battle.
Exactly. Meanwhile, knocking down enemy models like bowling pins.
That's amazing.
And when a model's knocked down, you actually get to strike twice against it if you win the combat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, because some of my favourite things about this is just monsters in general. Just seeing the big trolls wandering across the battlefield, just killing 10 dwarves with one swing. I love it.
Yeah, last week I played a game against a guy called Harry who used 4 cave trolls.
Oh.
Of which I think one was Burda, which is a hill troll character from Lord of the Rings as well. And that was a horrible game. But that's because he was using all these brutal power attacks in such a great way.
So the monsters really get benefits.
Yeah, they get their own benefits.
So
yeah. And the last one is Barge, where they can physically push enemy models out of the way to try and get to a particular character.
Yeah. Now, is this something they can do against other monsters? This ability to rend, their barge, their hurl?
I don't think they can.
Do you not want me to ask that because you don't know?
Yeah, they can actually target other monsters as well.
Okay.
But bearing in mind that things like Hurl are entirely based on your opponent's strength value compared to your own as well.
So it's not like you're going to be like lifting up a troll and throwing a troll across the battle.
Pushing it a couple of inches away.
Okay.
Which might do something.
Yeah, you never know. Could push them off a building or into some water.
Yeah. So the next thing is the single-handed and two-handed weapons. I wanted to cover that.
Okay.
Something that's come into this is a new term that I hadn't heard before, but is actually comes from history.
Apparently
I
so,
found out
yeah.
today, which is cool. Phil was kind to point that out to me. Is the hand-and-a-half weapons. In the past, we've always described these as elven blades.
Okay.
They're no longer limited to elves, and I think just a couple of Easterling characters had elven blades as well. So they essentially work in the same way. You can choose to use them as single-handed or two-handed weapons before you roll for the fight.
Okay.
So that's an interesting.
It gives them a more dynamic approach, isn't it? If you're going into goblins, you might as well just swing it one hand and try and hack through them as quickly as possible. If you're really like against a troll or something, you want to put both hands
have
on
a bit more power
and really try and dig through the armour.
Yeah, that's right. So bearing in mind, with a single-handed weapon, you attack as normal.
Yep.
Two-handed, it's -1 to your fight value, but +1 to your strength.
Okay. Yeah.
The next thing I wanted to say was about pikes. Something a lot of competitive gamers used to do was take pikemen and give them a shield and a crossbow. Because the shield gave them +1 defense.
Yep.
The crossbow allowed them to act either as spear support or to shoot through the front rank to shoot at the enemies. You can still do that, but you don't get the same advantages. So you actually suffer a -1 penalty to your duel roll if you are armed with anything other than a pike.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
But the pike still allows you to fight in ranks of 3. So you have a guy at the front with a sword and shield.
Yep.
Guy behind him with a pike, and then a guy behind him with a pike. They can all fight
that's
against one
good.
model.
Yeah.
But the pikeman at the back can't support a spear support anymore. It has to be another pike.
Oh, okay. So
So
it's forcing you to take 2 pikes rather than sword, spear, pike.
Yes, another competitive thing people used to do was take a really good front swordsman, like an Uruk-hai swordsman, and then they take a Mordor Orc spearman, just a spear support because they're cheap, and then an Uruk-hai with a pike.
Yeah.
You can't do that now. You have to take pikemen to support pikemen.
Yeah.
Also, if you take a shield, the shields have got the cumbersome rule, which means that it's -1 bonus to your defense. So where a shield should normally give you a +1 bonus to your defense.
Okay.
If you're carrying a shield and a pike or another like
cumbersome weapon,
like that, it's going to be -1 to your defense. So it won't give you any benefit.
Okay.
Yeah. Next thing I wanted to bring up was about building armies for matched play. So you've always been able to take a mixture of different types of models in the game.
Yeah.
Now they've really kind of focused on trying to get people to build narrative armies, even in matched play. So there's basically 2 armies you can choose from in the game. There's good and there's evil.
Okay.
You can mix and match as you like, but you won't get any benefits for doing that.
Okay.
If you choose to take, for example, I know you've been frothing about an Iron Hills
army.
army.
Oh, I love the Iron Hills.
If you take nothing but Iron Hills, you will get an army bonus just for doing that.
Oh, okay, yeah. So kind of like in the old games with 40k and fantasy, if you take all Space Wolves, you get Space Wolf benefits, but if you take Space Wolves and Ultramarines and White Scars and
you might lose
Iron Hands, you don't get those benefits for being one army.
Yeah, that's right, and that's where the Allies matrix comes in.
Yes.
Just here. So we've got a good and an evil.
Oh, that
Allies
chart
matrix.
really brings back memories.
Isn't it beautiful?
40k.
Oh, it does. Yeah, with the apocalypse chart. Yes. Yeah. God, that's a long time ago.
That is a long time. It's making me feel old.
So you've got different types of allies. You've got historical allies, which are green, which means if you take, for example, Minas Tirith and Rohan, they fought at the Battle of Pelennor together. They are strong allies. You'll get the army benefit for both, even if you mix them.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Convenient allies, you can use them together. That's totally fine, not a problem. But you won't get your army benefits for it. Whereas impossible allies, I'm pretty sure, you lose your army bonus. And models may only benefit from heroic actions and stand fast from heroes from the same army list.
So you're fighting together, but you have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah,
that kind of
basically.
Idea.
Okay. Yeah. And another point on this is that a lot of your impossible allies are things that wouldn't have existed in the same timeline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so, like...
Iron Hills dwarves wouldn't fight with the Army of the Dead.
No, not necessarily. No, they wouldn't.
Yeah,
so
because they weren't around at the same time, were they? Aragorn wasn't there commanding the army when Dane was marching on Smaug.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And they've really tried to kind of limit that.
Okay. It makes sense, though, doesn't it? Historical accuracy, which is always something they looked at in this.
Yeah, and again, it's the whole competitive edge. Like, at a lot of tournaments, I've seen people take Alfred the Counsellor from Lake Town in, like, an army with the Fellowship. Or I did a terrible thing. I took Tom Bombadil and Goldberry with that was Phil off camera, just face palming. I'm proud of this. Tom Bombadil, Goldberry, Aragorn, and Gandalf the Grey. And Gan Burigan. So yeah, it was a great game. People hated us because Tom Bombadil and Goldberry used to be unkillable. I don't know if that's still the case, but that was fun. Anyway, moving on. Another point that's quite cool about these rules is that they finally established what to actually do with good versus good and evil versus evil. We've all kind of treaded the common sense path that one person chooses good, one person chooses evil. So let's say you're taking elves, I'm taking dwarves, and we're fighting that little scuffle before the Battle of the Five Armies. I would go, well, I'm more evil because of this, and you're more good because of this.
Yeah, you kind of see the elves as more good than...
Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
it depends on... This is where it doesn't work.
So they're all a bit grumpy with each other, aren't they?
Yeah. So, from my perspective...
Here we go, we're already started it, aren't we?
But yeah, so they've established that and said that one player has to choose whether they're good, one person has to choose whether they're evil. And in any roll-offs, the rule is that on a 1 to 3, it is the evil player. On a 4 to 6, it is the good player. For anything that is like a drawn initiative or anything like that. One of my favourite new features of army building in the Middle-earth SBG is the heroic tiers.
Okay.
This really mixes up how you can build your army with your heroes. So whereas before you only really had 2 tiers, there was independent heroes and kind of probably heroes of fortitude, really, in that You had independent heroes like Gollum, or Grima Wormtongue. They are characters that affect the battlefield, but they're not really known for leading troops.
No.
They just act completely independently. Whereas every other hero in the game just used to be able to lead 12 models, and that was
they were battle leaders, weren't they? Aragorn would lead his army into battle, whereas Gollum would just run around smashing hobbits with stones.
But what the Middle-earth design team thought was strange was that a captain of Gondor could lead just as many troops as Phaeton King or Aragorn or whatever. And what they've tried to do now is say that depending on the tier that your hero is signified as, you can choose a different number of models, which is actually how they've made the Battle of Pelennor Fields box set game legal.
Okay.
Because you get a lot of models in there, but not many heroes, right? So a hero of legend, which is like the Witch King of Angmar, or Phaeton,
or Aragorn,
probably
these
Aragorn
big
King,
named characters.
They can lead 18 models, and they gain the Last Stand special rule. Which means that the first time a model with this special rule takes a courage test, as a result of your force being broken, they will pass the test automatically, which is really, really helpful. Because quite a lot of the time, a scenario ends, or can start to end, when a force is broken. Okay? Heroes of Valor can take 15 followers. Heroes of Fortitude are very much like our old heroes. I'd imagine this is all of our normal captains. Like unnamed captains, they can take 12 followers. And then minor heroes can only take 6 followers, but they may not be the army's leader, which means you're always going to have to take a hero of Fortitude
or
be your army leader. And also what's interesting is the highest tier model in your army has to be your army general.
So if you've got Aragorn and then a captain of Gondor, Aragorn has to be the general. You can't choose Gondor captain to be your general.
Absolutely has to be, because a problem we had with the old rules, and something that I'm guilty of as well, is I would take a Ringwraith in my army, but I'd also take a minor orc character like Gorbag, and Gorbag would be my army leader, because I'd keep him hidden at the back of the battlefield so you can't kill him. And I don't really care about using him, whereas my Ringwraith, I want him up front throwing spells at you and ruining your day. But if he was my general, you'd be targeting him to kill him, so I wouldn't really want him to be up front. So the tactics of the game are going to change just because of this simple ruling. That's why I think it's so cool.
So something like, I'm confused by this, because so if I've got Aragorn, he can lead 18 followers. So I would take Aragorn and up to, say, 18 Gondorian soldiers. And then if I wanted more Gondorian soldiers, I would have to take another hero.
You'd have to take a captain
or something like that. So say if I want like 24 Gondorian soldiers, I would take Aragorn to lead 18 of them, and then a Gondor captain to lead the other 6.
That's right. And army construction's always been a bit like that. It's always been quite rigid.
Hero followers.
12 followers.
So it kind of forces you to take those small captains to lead the troops.
Not being wrong, but you'd want to as well, because of the whole might, will and fate thing. That rule system is so intrinsical to this game.
You want to pool as many dice into
You want as many points of might around the battlefield, so you can start to call those heroic actions and really make your army work.
Because that one thing can mean the difference between killing a Nazgul and it not dying.
It's really being able to manipulate the initiative of the game. Or being able to do things like, if you call a heroic fight in a combat, Aragorn's in the middle of a combat surrounded by orcs, he calls a heroic fight, he kills every single orc in combat, and then gets to move again in space contact with another orc and slaughter all of those as well, just because he called that heroic fight. And that's what makes this game great for me, is the ability to use the might, will and fate.
I mean, it is very cinematic of Aragorn to march into 30 orcs and slaughter those 30. It's like with the whole Thorin and what's his second captain called? I'm going to get hated now for not knowing names, aren't I?
Which one? There's Thorin,
the one with
Dwalin,
the big
one.
Is it
Dwalin?
Dwalin? The whole thing where it's, there's only 100 of them. We can take them.
Dwalin's brilliant in the game. He's well known for being brilliant. I'm sure he still will be in the new edition. But so obviously this covers the core rulebook.
Okay.
There's another book to come that will come out at the same time, which is the Armies of Middle-earth.
So that's got all the rules within the armies.
Yeah, and that's just for the ones that exist during the Lord of the Rings, War of the Ring era.
Yep.
Plus, like the Ruin of Arnor and a few of the other in between bits
battles,
that are to do with the fiction. At the same time, they're releasing a PDF with all the rules for the Hobbit.
Okay.
So the Army of Thror,
Iron Hills,
Dark Denizens of Mirkwood, you know, the Gundabad Orcs, all that stuff. And that'll be in a PDF until they release a book, which will be coming at some point in the future. They've not determined when that's going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm deeply excited for the new edition, as you can tell.
I mean, even I'm excited. I've never touched Lord of the Rings, as in the strategy Lord of the Rings, but with the book, it's something I'm very interested in playing.
I suspect
I love the story. I love the movie. So for me, this is
it's an incredible IP.
Bringing life to the movies.
Exactly, it's an incredible IP and setting to work within. There's a lot of stories you can tell with your own armies and ranges of figures. It's an extensive range of models, so much so that there's a lot of models that are just out of print. That they're trying to find ways to produce them again, and they've spoken about making them made to order, like they've done for some of the old collectible Age of Sigmar and 40k models, or even just bringing some of them back that make sense. So the Hobbit Army recently, they just re-released a pack of Hobbit Sheriffs. It was the only real blister pack of normal troops that was missing from the range for Hobbits. And Hobbits are popular enough to grant them to put it back into production for the range.
I love a Hobbit Army, all just throwing stones at
Hobbits
people,
are brilliant in the game. They are brilliant in the game. You know what? I think the best thing for us to do is probably to roll dice and move some figures around a table for an hour or two and actually work out how to play. Because I love teaching people how to play this game. It's my passion. And you've already expressed some interest.
Yeah, I really want to learn how to play this. I love the models. I love the idea of the game system. So I think it'd be great to learn to play.
So let's come back. Once I've completely read the new rules, understood them completely, read my way through Armies of Middle-earth, and we will play with my High Elves, so my Galadrim, and the Mordor, or
just Orcs.
Let's go, just
whichever
Orcs
we'll
you
fancy on the day.
Yeah, we'll work it out. So we will play a game and make sure that we're informative and tell you guys how to play. Yeah.
So thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you, Rob, for your infinite Lord of the Rings knowledge that you'll hopefully pass on to me sometime and teach us how to play this game. I don't think me or Father could understand this book without you. I mean, I don't know what any of this is. I don't know, single model movement. So thank you very much, and if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, or head over to www.wargameronline.com. You can sign up for the premium account for $2.99. It really just helps us be able to make these videos and get the models and all the camera equipment needed to film these battle reports for you. So yeah, so thank you very much. Again, thank you, Rob, and we will probably both see you again soon for that little test battle.
I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you. See you later.